A 3D printed magic cube. Let's see how to slice it. Alright guys, believe it or not, this is a magic cube with mechanical parts and also the cover ones all 3D printed. So I want to show you how to slice it and all the tricks that you need to print those pieces. And also, if you want to check this model, if you're not a subscriber yet, check the link on the description for our platform. Alright guys, we are going to divide this video in two main parts. Before, the internal pieces of the model, alright? And then we are going to talk about the cover ones, okay? Which ones we are going to need support. So for this, we are going to talk most about first layer settings and also some addition options that we have in the slicer. First of all, if you click on this model, you can see how many of them you need to print, how many instances you need to print for each one, okay? So in this one, you're going to right click in here. We are going to set a number of instances, okay? We're going to tap 3, okay? In this one, this is going to be 9, so right click, set number of instance, 9. This one, 6. And we are going to do the same procedure for every single one. Alright guys, in here, we need to pay attention at our first layer. So I will recommend you something that I usually do, which is I always keep the same setting for my first layer. For example, if I change my profile for a 0.12 millimeters, you're going to see that I kept my 0.2 millimeters as a value for my first layer height, okay? The same works for my extrusion width at the first layer, 0.48 millimeters, okay? So if I set my Z offset, the distance between the nozzle and the build plate, and I test it with the layer height and this extrusion width, the right flow for the filament, and my first layer is looking good, I keep these settings for all prints because the first layer is going to be the same for every single one. And then I need to change just the other layers. For example, I can change the extrusion width in the continuing layers. I also can change my layer height in the following layers of the print, but for the first layer I kept always the same value, so I recommend you to do the same. In this way you are going to have the same settings and also the same success in the first layer in every print, okay? And now let's take a look in here. We have some multiple parts in here which I don't like too much to print all together. But if you would print in this way, to save some time and print all at once, those are small parts in here. So the risk is not so big. So we don't need to use bring in every single one. And also, if you look at these ones in here, they are taller. So I think the risk is higher in this case. So we could enable bring just on these parts. So we are going to click on this model in here, right click in here, and then we are going to put add settings, skirt and bring, and then we are going to put bring width and bring separation gap. Let's put okay, and then I can put 0.1 for example, and then 5 millimeters as a bring width. Now, as you can see, we have only bring on those parts that I think we needed, okay? If you want to enable in all the build plate, you can change this in the skirt and bring option. This is going to be safer, but I think it's harder to remove, okay? So let's keep in this way. One of my concerns in here, it's the nozzle hitting some of those parts, and then we are going to ruin the rest of them. So to avoid this even more, we are going to put in the filament settings, filament over heights, we are enabling the ramping lift. We're going to use this. We're going to set the maximum lift of the nozzle, which will be 0.2 millimeters. You can put 0.24 if you want. I am just keeping 0.2. And also we're setting an angle for this movement, which I will use 20 degrees, and I will show you what's going to happen in here. Alright guys, let me show you what is happening now. We have movements between these parts when we are print. And now instead of doing a straight line, the nozzle is going to do this movement in here. Let me show you. look, we're going to print those lines, the internal infill, and then before move, the nozzle is going to do a small lift like this, and then this is going to move like this, all right? This ramping movement make the nozzle start to move, make the retraction during the movement, and then go on. This avoids some strings during the process, so that's why we think it's for the best using ramping lift instead of the traditional one. Now let's talk about the outside part of our cube. For some of those parts, we are going to need supports. So I'm going to give you some advice for your settings to make them easy to remove and also to make them work better in the contact with your print to make a good finishing on this region. First, I'm going to select my profile. I'm going to use a 0.16 millimeter profile in this one. And now we can set our support settings based on this. The main one is the distance between the support and our print. We are going to change this to 0.16, the same layer height. So we will have a 1 layer gap between the supports and the print, okay? This support is going to be closer to the print, which will give us a better finishing on this region. But this gap will make them easy to remove, all right? So let's keep in this way. The pattern that I'm going to use in here is the grid one. The organic support is not going to make any better because it's a flat region. So the normal support is going to work fine. So let's keep the grid one. And also we are going to change this for 4 layers of interface. More interface means a smooth finishing in the top of the support, and then our print is right after this. All right, so we are having to get a better finishing in this region. And I always recommend you to keep 0 as your interface pattern distance. This make a smooth finishing of lines right each other, so we don't have space between these lines, which will give us a better finishing as well, and also will make them easy to remove. So let me show you how this settings is going to work. And also let's paint all supports. I'm not going to use the automatic one because look, actually let's take a look at the automatic one. I think they will work because all those parts are flat, so I think automatic one is going to is going to work actually. The angle, overhang threshold, let's put 30 degrees in here and slice it. Okay guys, that's why I prefer sometimes to paint the supports because we have some unnecessary ones in here. So let's paint this as some regions that we don't want supports. So now we are going to click in here and then we are going to right click on your mouse and we are going to forbid supports in those regions. Okay. Now we don't have them, and we are going to do the same procedure in here, and also here, because we don't need support on those small areas, all right? Okay guys, now we have it. That would be how I would print this. So, oh, actually we have a mistake in here. Fortunately, we did this in video. Let me show you guys in the print settings. We would have problems in here because, look, the first layer after the support is finished. In here, look at this. Oh, whoops. We are going to make the walls in the supports, and that's all right. But then, when we have the bridge, we are going to do this in the air. So we don't have support working here, and also this is not going to look good. So we have to disable this option here, don't support bridges. So let's disable this because we want support. And now we slice it again, and then we have supports everywhere that we think is needed. Okay, so remember that if you enable the option don't support breeds, the supports are not going to work as we wanted. Fortunately, we did this in video to help if you have this problem and don't know which option you need to change. All right. So guys, I hope you learned something from this video and I see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoy it. Those slicing videos are an initiative from STL Academy, which is the educational project from STLFlix. So if you guys want to learn more about 3D printing, you could check our description and look at STL Academy courses. And don't forget, see you guys at the next slicing.